He suddenly discovered that as long as he threw the banknotes into the teacup, then deliberately pressed them down until they were completely soaked, and then fished them out with satisfaction. In this way, a brand new banknote would turn into an old one. After that, he treated all the banknotes in the same way, then hung them on a rope and dried them with a hairdryer, and thus got a large handful of old banknotes. All these banknotes were just newly made counterfeit bills. Compared with newly printed counterfeit bills, they were actually less likely to be noticed. Next came the moment to test the results. His accomplice handed over a counterfeit bill and asked the shopkeeper for a bottle of soda. However, the shopkeeper immediately sensed something was wrong the moment he received the bill. The man became nervous at once when he saw this. The shopkeeper grabbed him, and the man rushed forward and desperately pulled his accomplice out. The customers did not know what was happening, but seeing the shopkeeper shouting to catch them, they also joined in the chase. If they were caught, they would very likely be beaten to death. Fortunately, they had planned the escape route in advance, so they managed to shake off their pursuers with some difficulty.
So much fucking unemployment in our country. Mother chode, they don't even know why they're chasing us.
After returning, the two burned all the counterfeit bills without hesitation. Jack could not figure out why. Even though he had even forged the anti-counterfeiting coating, the shopkeeper still saw through it at a glance. He held the only remaining counterfeit bill and fought for a long time. Finally, he found the reason. He asked his accomplice to close his eyes, then handed him 3 banknotes and asked him which one was counterfeit. The other man simply touched them and immediately picked out the counterfeit one. That was the reason for their failure. They had used the wrong paper. Real banknotes use a special kind of cotton pulp paper, and the feel is completely different from the counterfeit bills they had made. Anyone who handles money frequently could spot it at once. Moreover, this kind of paper also has a unique crisp sound. There was also the color-changing ink on the banknotes. The ink changes color depending on the viewing angle, and the most difficult part was forging the security thread embedded in the banknotes. After 2016, India ceased circulation of 500 and 1,000 rupee notes and introduced the Mahatma Gandhi series banknotes. The new bills added 3 anti-counterfeiting measures to produce counterfeit bills that were hard to distinguish from real ones. These problems had to be solved. Most crucially, the color of the portrait on the new notes has tiny letters. Even with a high-resolution scanner, it was impossible to achieve a perfect match. The difficulty of forgery was extremely high, so they had to rely entirely on hand-painting the initial draft of the banknote, and then reduce and engrave it proportionally. However, this was Jack's strong point. He drew all the details of the new banknotes at a 1:1 scale. Finally, after polishing and chemical treatment, a printing plate for the banknotes was completed. But the cotton pulp paper used for real banknotes was strictly controlled by the government, making it hard for ordinary people to buy. They had to find substitute paper with a similar feel. The two went to bookstores and to scrap collection stations. They bought all kinds of similar coarse paper available on the market, but none of them was a suitable substitute. However, one day, Jack found hope in an advertising brochure.